Hey guys, GameZack here, and this video is just going to be going over the details of the Civilization 6 Spring 2017 update patch notes. Now, I know these patch notes are usually quite interesting to go over, especially since Civilization 6 has a lot of sort of controversy around it being, well, basically unfinished or incomplete. So these patch notes are always nice to see what they're working on, and to clarify, this update is coming free of charge to all owners of Civilization 6. So whether you get the new DLC or not, it's gonna be free. So looking at this, let's go over the patch notes. It's got some basic adjustments and stuff, harbor balances and things like that. Let's go over the actual details, starting with balance changes here. So looking at it first, the harbor now gives a major adjacency bonus with the city's center, +1 food for all coast tiles when the lighthouse is built, and +2 gold for all coast tiles when the seaport is built. Australia also now gets +1 for charming, +3 for breathtaking instead of +2 and +4 to compensate for the harbor boost above. So harbor being next to the being adjacent to city center sort of adds more reason to build a city on the coast rather than just building a city somewhat further away from the coast, because having that adjacency bonus seems to be actually quite good. +1 food and +2 gold for all coast tiles once you build those buildings. That's pretty good. Now, moving on, the Royal Navy Dockyard now always provides +1 trade route. Okay, makes it slightly more useful. Added a future civic to the ends of the civics tree, a repeatable civic to research and add to the player score. This is a nice addition, though it doesn't really clarify whether you have to keep selecting it. You probably do. So basically at the end, and now instead of just picking, what is it, social media, over and over again, you can select future civic. It's a nice little sort of aesthetic change, but I think mechanically you're still gonna have to keep repicking it. I wish you could just select it and set it on that and set it and forget it, basically. Bomber units are now more effective against cities, kind of nice. Swordsmen are now reduced to 36 combat strength, so they're not quite as good. It'll probably mean the unique units that replace swordsmen, which there are quite a few of now, would be slightly better in comparison. Damages now remain on city and encampment units when a city is traded. Okay, siege, that makes sense. Siege units with a bonus movement, example from Great Generals or the Persian Surprise War, can still shoot after moving as long as they still have 2 movement points. So the Persian Blitzkrieg is going to be pretty good with siege units, and if you have specific Great Generals as well, the siege units tend to be a little harder to move around, so having this this bonus makes them more useful. And now, adjusted warmonger penalties. Now, I know a lot of people are always upset about warmonger penalties, so let's have a look at this. When applying a warmonger diplomatic penalty for either declaring war or capturing a city, reduce that penalty if you are enemies with the target of that warmongering as follows. Now, this is very confusingly worded, but I'll explain it. So basically, the example is down here. Macedon is at war with Persia. If India goes to war with Persia during this war and captures a Persian city, the Macedon will reduce the warmonger penalty against India by 40%. So basically, if we have Civ A and Civ B who are at war, they're fighting. Now, Civ A and Civ C used to have a war, and they have some warmonger penalty making their relations sour, basically. So let's say during the A and B war, C decides to join in and attacks B, right? So now A and C are both attacking B. So when C goes and captures a city from B, basically it proves that A and C have a common enemy now in B. So if you join a war and sort of help out, quote unquote, A and B will then have less tension between the two because they're both fighting the same person. Now this sort of makes sense, and it's a nice little change. It probably won't completely fix the warmongering situation, or not even to mention the war weariness situation, but it's a nice little addition that makes sort of sense there. And adjusted warmonger penalties for city population. So basically what this is saying is if you capture a tiny city that is below the average size of the city in the game, then you get less warmonger penalties. So capturing a size 1 city off of an advanced civilization, you don't get so much warmongering compared to capturing like a size 14 city. So that's also a nice little addition as well. Now, AI tuning, making the AI smarter is something that people definitely want to have done to this game. Improved coordination for multiple attacking units, that's good. We don't really know what that means. We'll have to wait and see to see what it looks like. Range units better understand how to capture civilian units, all right. AI should now generally accept embassies when neutral and reject them when in friendly, all right. When asking an AI to equalize a deal that has elements on both sides of the deal, it will consider a gold-only change before looking at other possibilities. That sort of makes sense. Just throw gold onto the problem first. Now, increase AI's desire to repair pillaged districts and buildings, all right, so they won't be leaving them all ruined for so long. Minor civs will no longer go after policies that give them extra influence that they can never use. That makes sense. Made it easier to meet the positive side of the environmentalist agenda. Okay, that's I suppose a nice little change. AI will now build multiple neighborhoods. That makes sense. Don't know why they didn't do that before. Bug fixes. All right, the Great Works tooltip in the deal now shows extended information. Always nice. The tooltips in Civ 6 have been a little lacking quite often. Melee units can no longer attack embarked units. No more amphibious war carts. I'm not sure if you saw that match of mine where I was playing as Sumeria and my war carts could go off the coast to attack a unit and just roll on back onto the land. Well, we can't do that anymore. Pillage improvements no longer provide Pantheon bonuses. Okay, that's a nice note. Fix double counting of appeal from improvements. That's just a bug. Good that it's fixed. Fix broken gossip message about seaside resorts that made them always mention a lost city. Okay, I didn't actually notice that bug. John Curtin is now referred to as Prime Minister and not President in the Outback Tycoon scenario. Oh yeah, that's correct. Fixed an issue where previously constructed buildings were not showing up properly on the production chooser. Yes! Let's just pause for a second on this one and just say yes to this. This has been a bane of my gameplay since launch. And just having this, I don't know what was the big issue about not fixing this. I really do hope that this is fixed. This is probably my favorite point so far. Fix the production chooser on what was previously constructed. Thank you. The world tracker now keeps its open-close state between turns. Okay, that's handy. Additional bug fixes. No idea what that means. Multiplayer. Updating global thermonuclear war scenarios proxy war victory condition to support team play. Very good. Expanded internet games list to show results from additional regions. Oh, would you look at that? I have a whole video dedicated on why multiplayer sucks for me, and it's basically because of this. Like, I'm in Malaysia. I can't see games which are in Singapore, which if I was in South Malaysia, that would be like 14 kilometers away. So we might actually be able to see some multiplayer games now because we're going to be able to see some additional regions. I don't know what it means by additional regions because that could mean anything. Maybe it'll be like a whole Southeast Asian region. Maybe the US would be one single list. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's going to be a global region, but this is better than what it was, at least. Very good point. I'm not sure which one I like more, the production chooser or expanded internet games list. Games list was frequently not showing all available games due to UI bug. That's even worse. So before, not only were we region locked to our Steam download region, there was a bug which made it so that not all games were showing. No wonder why I couldn't find anything. Anyway, miscellaneous. Added more civs to the true start location Earth map. Okay. I think people are still waiting on a huge Earth map. I don't think that's going to be added here. Separated war, peace notifications into major civs versus city-states. That's handy. Added additional information to defeat victory screens so players will be clearer on why they have lost the game. Okay, thank you for that. Because so far, ending a game was sort of like, oh, well, you win or you lose. Now, what's next? Added special ability stars to text and civics and lock on you. That's just a visual improvement. Okay. Added invasion warnings to the Poland scenario. Oh, thank you for that. When I played the Poland scenario, it had those sort of sudden invasions that appeared in the middle of my empire, especially on the southern border of the map. Having invasion warnings is actually pretty good. It seems to make it more fair. One big gripe I have in strategy games or city building games is quite often when you have invasions and things like that, you don't know where they're coming from or really when they're coming. Added new capability database table to disable select game systems for scenarios and mods. more options are good. ARX functionality updates for scenarios, okay. Added text labels differentiating official and community content in the lobby screen. Handy. Additional content. In-game, fixed issues with the additional content menu with mods that contain very long strings. Okay, the import files modding, blah, blah, blah. All of these are sort of just back-end things and just making things run a bit better and show a bit better. Added a do-nothing front-end action and in-game action. Action is useful as placeholder, container, blah, blah, blah. The localization database now written out to cache flow. Development tools, the SDK launcher will now close. Mod buddy will no longer display a parameter escaped value. Added SQ. Okay, so it's nice. It's bug fixes. I think there's a few main points here. Let's go back to the top. The few main points is harbors are now going to be more useful, especially when adjacency bonus with the city center. There's a future civic, which is nice, but not that big. The warmonger penalties have been changed, which is quite good. I think this is a step in the right direction. Probably not a be-all and end-all for a solution for warmongering. Notably, nothing on war wariness, which I think a lot of people are still complaining about. The AI tuning, just generally better, I think. Where was the stuff? Bug fixes, I think the production chooser previously constructed, very important there. And expanded internet games list and fix that UI bug. So we'll actually be able to see some multiplayer games. So overall, there's some nice points here. It is not an exhaustive list of everything that people want fixed. I mean, there's still no mention of cross-platform play between Windows and Mac. And nothing on war wariness, but overall, it's a good step. I mean, they are putting out updates pretty frequently now. We had the winter update, we had the spring update, this is the summer update. No, we had the summer update first, sorry, that was the Australian summer update. So we had the winter update, we had the Australian summer update, and this is the spring update. Them using these seasons is very confusing, isn't it? Anyway, those are the Civilization 6 Spring 2017 update and patch notes, and some interesting points that I highlighted for you. In case you haven't seen them, now you have seen them. Tell me what you think. Do you think this is actually going to make the game better? Which one of these points is your favorite? My favorite is probably between the production chooser fix and also expanded internet games list. But some of these other ones are pretty good as well. And besides what's being fixed already and what has been fixed, what do you want to be fixed? I'd love to hear, what are your biggest gripes with the game? Because I know there's a lot of people who are still saying it's not worth it, especially with the DLC. A big note on the upcoming DLC, I don't think they've released a price yet. My last couple of videos on Persia and Macedon sort of bring up an issue with the Digital Deluxe and the pricing and how they're borderline false advertising right now. But anyway, let me know which one of these these fixes is your favorite and which one you really wish was going to be fixed. I'd love to know. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. My name's been GamerZach. This has been the Spring 2017 update for Civilization 6. Hope you found it useful, and I will see you in the next video.